compassion for the poor. As many of you know, my heart is very much for the people I work alongside in East Africa, in southwest Uganda and Burundi, areas of abject poverty. It goes back a long way to when God led me there as a volunteer nearly 50 years ago. And when I committed my life to Jesus, God gave me a heart for this area. I continue working alongside people in southwest Uganda with Itambara Island Seeds of Hope, a community development project, and in Burundi with Rema, integrating displaced people and refugees. So, compassion, what does it mean? Well, the prefix com means with, and passion, suffering. So, suffering with, love in action with those who are suffering. The poor economically, poor in spirit. Did you know there are over 2,000 references to poverty in the Bible? So compassion, suffering together, having a heart for the poor, or actually, is it having a broken heart for the poor? Are we broken-hearted over seeing broken people? Do we see as God sees, the world he loves? What does God see and feel when he looks down on Birmingham or Burundi? When did you last weep outwardly or inwardly over poverty in Birmingham or Africa or anywhere else? When were you last moved to do something? Show love in action. I regularly challenge myself on this. The Bible is full of references to compassion and different ways to show compassion and be compassionate. In 1 Peter, it says, be like-minded, be sympathetic, love one another, be compassionate and humble. In John 11, the shortest verse in the Bible, Jesus wept. He wept when hearing of the death of his dear friend Lazarus. In Mark 6, when Jesus landed, he saw a large crowd. He had compassion on them because they were like a sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. And probably the most well-known, the parable of the Good Samaritan, where a traveller is beaten up and robbed and left for dead along the road. The Samaritan, not thinking about the race or the religion of the man or about his own position or what people would say, he just saw a man who needed help. He didn't walk by, and he didn't just toss him a coin. His compassion involved understanding the need, bandaging the wounds, pouring on oil and wine, putting him on his donkey, taking care of him, and paying for his care, using his own resources, his time, his money. So what can we do? Firstly, I think we can pray, but you might say, how can I pray about a country like Uganda or Burundi or anywhere else? We hear so much every day. Children in need, appeals through our doors and online, the daily news. There's a danger of compassion fatigue. Maybe you're thinking, where do I start? It doesn't have to be Africa. The poor are with us here in Birmingham, in Sutton. I suggest a place to start is by praying, asking God to lay something on your heart, and then find out more about it. In the news, website, people you know who are involved, sign up for newsletters, or go and see. Friends have visited the project at Lake Bunyonyi in Uganda to meet the people and learn more. Secondly, I think, is to get involved. Seek what the needs are and don't guess, and then pray about how to help, how to make a real difference, even a small difference. We can sometimes be inappropriate. I remember the Snoopy cartoon, two friends walking along in the snow see Snoopy sitting in the snow on his own. Snoopy looks kind of cold, doesn't he? The other one says, I'll say he does. Maybe we'd better go over and comfort him. They walk up to Snoopy and say, be of good cheer, Snoopy. Yes, be of good cheer. And then walk off. Snoopy is left sitting uncheered up with a big question mark over his head. I've learnt in my ministry that things need to be relevant. not just throwing money at things. Compassion is getting involved, working alongside the local people, listening, understanding the needs, learning to understand the culture, showing empathy and seeking the best way to help. Sometimes an individual, a family, a community, or a group such as refugees or the homeless. Thirdly, I think, is to give. This may be spontaneous in response to an immediate need or a crisis. In April in Burundi, there were unusually heavy rains, and friends and communities were washed out of their homes. They lost their land, they lost their crops. We sent money from Rema in the UK to Rema in Burundi for emergency food and shelter. But longer term commitment can make a real change. I remember the Chinese proverb, give a man a fish and feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for life. Following the floods in Burundi, what can be done so the same things don't happen next time it rains? But nearer home, there are many opportunities. Building relationships such as sponsoring a child through compassion, giving and helping with the food bank or second thoughts, offering specific skills to a mission or organisation, volunteering enthusiastically, offering financial help as a one-off or on a regular basis, and challenging injustice, speaking up for the poor. In Proverbs 31:8 it says, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of all those who are destitute. Write to your MP. I've done this about the cut in foreign aid budget and the lack of vaccine for poor countries such as Uganda, which had very little, has now run out completely. And finally, go. Just go. Get your hands dirty. Get involved. Follow your God-given heart of compassion. See through God's eyes and be the body of Jesus Christ in Sutton and Birmingham, Africa, and to the ends of the earth, wherever we are called to reach out with compassion to the poor and the broken. Anything, anywhere, anytime. So I pray we might be filled with compassion, love, mercy, justice, and grace, to see as God sees, and that we would be a people who show compassion and love others outrageously.